What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Birds Deep. I know we've been away for a while. You got me, the Godfrey, but over here first I want to introduce my man, Mean Gene. Tell him who you are.
Turn your mic up, but I'm Mean. Woo! Gene. What's popping? How y'all feeling? Ready to talk some birds? Eagles talk, baby.
It's draft season is in full thrust. We're a couple weeks away. Maybe a little bit more than that. 21 days, right? And it's going to be a Thursday. What is it? April 27th, I believe, on a Thursday.
Yep.
So that is a fun night.
We'll be previewing that. We'll be going live right before the draft. Give you our last second opinions on the Eagles draft. I want to talk about free agency this week. What happened in our free agency and how we think the Eagles have fared. The Jalen Hurts contract situation and some draft talk.
Do you prefer the old draft format or the new one where it's a first round, second round on, Thursday, Friday?
I'm going to be honest with you. I prefer this format because I could care. I'm going to say I could care less, but I'm not sitting at home watching rounds 4 through 7. Whereas the old draft format, it was like the middle of the day on Saturday when you're hitting round 1. It's just like I was working normally.
Gotcha. Now you don't.
I think round 1 and round 2 should be prime time.
Yeah, I like that.
I wish more trades to happen overnight.
Yeah. I, though, would prefer if it wasn't in every city and it was at one place because it was great in New York City. I went to 3 of them when they were in New York City, and just easier to get there. There's just, I don't know. I just felt that way. The point of them having it on, Friday, Saturday, not horrible. But, it was first come, first served to get in there back in the day. And I'm pretty sure it's not that hard to get into the draft these days, to be honest.
You could pick one of the 3 days to go to. Which day would you go?
I would pick definitely round 1. Only because, there's a lot of action around 1. I think, like, your big surprises, your breaches or your steals or whatever it be, or trades are usually in round 1. Sometimes round 2, but I feel like the shocking moments.
I would pick Friday night.
Okay. There.
Like, I think it's a little bit longer. You get a little bit more juice, a lot more picks.
You get some surprises on day 2. I just like a lot of the stars come out the first night, and if your team has a first round pick, that's amazing. Like the Eagles who have 2. So that's it'd be awesome.
It's a luxury, man. How you beat a Super Bowl and have 2 first round draft picks? Number 30 and number 10. We'll talk about what they're going to do with that. But let's start with free agency. Let's talk about free agency. So we lost Miles Sanders, Javon Hargrave. Big loss. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I could have swore would be back with the Eagles this year. They also lost Isaac Seumalo. I miss any big losses outside those 4?
No, not really. Epps, I guess, wasn't like a dramatic loss. Seumalo, I thought hurt.
Oh, TJ Edwards and Kazir White. So 2 linebackers.
Yeah.
I feel like the Eagles are in a decent position, though, to replace every single person that they lost. I mean, you drafted Jordan Davis in the first round. He should be your Hargrave replacement. He should be. That's what you drafted him number 14 overall for. You drafted Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. He should be your TJ Edwards replacement. They signed a linebacker from Chicago that played in our defensive coordinator system. He should be your Kazir White replacement. And they got back Bradbury and Slay, as well as Fletcher Cox, as well as Jason Kelsey. Brought in Rashad Penny, a little undervalued running back, to add to that backfield. I still don't think they're done at the running back position. I think they draft a running back, and we'll talk about that. But I think they definitely draft a running back. I think that will be on their board. It's whether or not they do it at 10:30 or in the second or third round.
Yeah, I like the sizzle of possibly taking a possibly taking
Bijan?
Robinson. Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I was
You
forgetting
know,
his name. Bijan Robinson.
I want to address that when we get there because I really have strong feelings on this.
Yeah.
What do you think about free agency first? Though?
I thought free agency was okay. I mean, I knew they were going to take some hits to the team, that they were going to lose some pieces. Thought Gardner Johnson would be back, but listen, man, you've talked about this before on other shows. You know how AJ Brown was carrying himself as a teammate sometimes, and see, I didn't get a real good feeling from CJG, not because he left, but just how he carried himself about it. And I just kind of feel like, yes, we're losing some talent there, but I'm not really upset that he's gone after that process happened. If you asked me before free agency, I would have said no way, no how. But if you also said that I would have been able to keep Slay and Bradbury, I would have thought there's no way you're keeping all three of them. And if I had to,
Well, yeah, I think the difference was, it's funny in the Eagles front office eyes. I think they viewed Bradbury as the person they definitely wanted to keep, which is why they cut Slay. Slay said he was really close. They were going to try to keep Bradbury and Chauncey Gardner Johnson and move on.
Bradbury's younger by 3 years, right?
Yeah. Slay said he was very close to being a Baltimore Raven. He was just not far away. Apparently, they never cut Darius Slay. There's reports that he was going to be cut, and then then they restructured.
Yeah, and Terrell Edmonds, by the way, he does. If you look at Pro Football Focus, and I know everybody doesn't agree with it, at that position, he grades out higher than CJG, does he not? I mean, I'm looking at it right now, unless they're lying to me on this list. Not by
That's not
a mile.
It really depends on what they are planning on doing. This is a new defensive coordinator, new scheme. So it depends on what they're planning on doing. Yeah. But I would rather have Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
For sure.
I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that CJ didn't bring a swag to that defense.
For sure. But here's the thing. This is what bugged me about how he was. So we always talked about how Jonathan Gannon would play the safeties deep. You could cut them up over the middle. I mean, would it be fair to say that Jonathan Gannon's scheme lent to him being able to play center field and a lot of times being able to pick those 6 balls off that had him have a really good year? I mean, I think the system, not saying he's a system player, but he trashed the coach for, I guess, having a bad game plan in the Super Bowl, and I get it. But he also helped him get there by the game plan that he had with him as a player. I don't know, man. I feel like the Jonathan Gannon system was pretty good for a safety because of how they play back on the ball. I mean, would I be wrong in saying that?
I don't know if you'd be right or wrong. This definitely was CJ's best year as a safety / corner. He was a nickel over in New Orleans, and he moved to safety in Philadelphia. So it's definitely his best year. I think the market spoke for how much they valued what CJ did versus what the system did. I think CJ thought he was going to get a lot more money. He didn't. I think if the Eagles knew they could have got him for 1 year, $8 million, they would have. They offered him 3 years, 24, with the back half being loaded because they couldn't afford to pay him as much in the front half. So he took the 1 year guaranteed 8 as opposed to the 3 years, 24, with the back half being loaded. I just think that CJ overvalued himself. I believe that
100%. 100%. And he saw Jesse Bates get that contract, and his eyes got big, and he was like, "Wow, Jesse got that much money." He's not 100%. But in his eyes, I think he's not. He thinks he's not that far off from him, or he's equal. And athletes are like that. I get it. You have to have that competitive edge. But in all reality, the market said, "No, you're not." Point blank.
Agreed.
I mean, I would like to see him back here, but the way he kind of exited, and it's nothing against the fans the way he acted, but I don't know, man, that's not a good look to me. The way yeah, I mean, nobody was happy with Gannon. I get it, but there's some responsibility there on the players too. I mean, and just you have your career year, and then you're like, yeah, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I just that just rubbed me the wrong way. It's the same kind of. I feel like the same way you described it when how AJ Brown was throwing his teammate under the bus after the Saints game. I believe that was the game you were talking about, where you're like,
Yeah, he threw Minshew under the bus.
yeah, I
Yeah,
just,
I didn't agree with that. I really didn't.
yeah,
My opinions on teammates, man. I've been
yeah,
in, and this is just me personally. I've been in competitive sports my whole life, and you keep that stuff to the sideline. You keep that stuff off the field. You don't do that in the public eye. If you have an issue with somebody, you tell them behind the scenes. You never
yeah,
let that
for
get
sure.
out. I don't like what CJ did to Jonathan Gannon. That was not right. Jonathan Gannon was already gone, and you didn't need to take shots at him on the way out. You didn't need to do that. And in reality, Jonathan Gannon's system allowed CJ to have his most productive year as a secondary member of the secondary in the NFL. So I'm not a
I feel
Jonathan
like,
Gannon fan, but I
right,
do
yeah,
have to.
me either. It helped revive his career in a sense. I mean, listen, there was a
I don't
reason
think
why
his
the Eagles.
career need to be revived.
It didn't, but I mean, he got traded. The Saints usually. Why did the Saints not want to sign this guy long term? I mean,
They have no money.
I don't they have the money, but they also, I mean, what I read from when he was there, there were some problems in the locker room.
Yeah,
There were some attitude
he was
issues.
the one that got in a fight with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas punched him in the face and got suspended
Yeah,
because he kept calling him Slant Boy.
I
That's
mean,
why Michael Thomas has
it
the
is
nickname of
facts
Slant
that
Boy
he should be called Slant Boy. That is, but I will give him
because
that.
he's the
But
one that
still,
started that. CJ's the one that
yeah,
started that. He did it in practice, and he goes, "You ain't. I'm not worried about you, Slant Boy."
he used to be so
It's funny,
frustrating.
but
It is. It was frustrating watching Michael Thomas have that season. He deserved it. When I was like, they're running the same route over and over again. Why can nobody figure this out? You know what I mean? I mean, whatever. But yeah, I mean the other stuff. Rashard Penny. Um, let's go on that free agency. Benjamin. Is he a talented guy? Yes, but can he stay healthy? He has proven every year. No, he has not been able to. There's a
I
there's a
don't feel
few.
like our backfield is way worse if we walked into it with Penny, Scott, and Gainwell than what you know what I mean? I don't
I don't
I don't
think
think it's
so
worse.
either. I just don't have any faith in Rashard Penny to stay healthy over a 17-game season, even in a part-time. It has to be a part-time role because when they have tried to roll him out full-time, he has gotten hurt almost immediately in 4 to 5 games. And the reason why I've really paid attention to it is him coming out of college in the fantasy football world, dynasty world. Everybody's like, "This is the year. This is the year. This is the year." Well, Chris Carson got invented because he couldn't stay healthy. Multiple different running backs in Seattle. They drafted Brees Hall because not Brees Hall. My apologies, man. This energy drink hasn't kicked in. The other really good Kenneth
Kenneth
Walker.
Walker.
They drafted him because they had a feeling like, hey, man, we're going to give Rashard Penny another shot here, but we don't know. And they started out the season with him, and then he got hurt for the season. So I like the ability, and you're right. I think overall, talent wise, we're not that far off. I would say, actually, I would argue that Rashard Penny probably has better hands than Miles Sanders does because that's not really a high bar. I mean, he wasn't really a good catcher out of the backfield. Miles Sanders had a really good season last year. Wish him
Rashad
the
Penny
best.
isn't either though.
He isn't, but I don't. I've seen him catch a ball a few in here, but they didn't really run the system like that though in Seattle.
Well, they did, but when they did, Travis Homer was the back that they used. He never
Yeah,
really caught the ball out of the backfield. He's just not that guy. He's a more of a
yeah,
bruiser. He's supposed to be a 15 to 20 to carry guy, but he never seems to stay healthy for that. That's what he's
yeah.
supposed to be. Like he's most effective when you run him 15 to 20 times per game.
I think they need another back. Whether it's the draft, I don't think they need to do Bijan
Well,
Robinson at pick 10, but we'll talk
let's
about
get
that
into
later.
that because there's a lot of people in Philly right now, 22. Perfect time to get into it. Um, Philadelphia Eagles around the tri-state area, you hear all out for Bijan Robinson, Bijan or bust. I think Bijan Robinson, and there's nothing against the kid. I think the kid's going to be a good running back in the NFL. But I think he's a little overhyped, a little overblown. I I don't think he's clear cut the best running back in this draft. I think that the media is really hyping him up to be a lot better than what he is. You're
Hmm.
playing in a very spread open Big 12 system
Yep.
with Quinn Ewers at quarterback, Xavier Worthy a wide receiver. There's a lot of space around him. So I don't think that he's as good as people. He's definitely not a 10th overall pick for me. Look, if he's there at 30 and you can get him at 30, okay. But he's not a top 10 pick to me.
Yeah,
We'll do a mock draft. We'll do a mock draft and we'll talk about this. But there's two guys that I would take at 10. One of them's going to be there, right? One of them is going to be there. And if I know they're absolute difference makers on the defensive side of the ball for Philadelphia.
You know what I would like to see the Eagles get at running back? If you're asking me what prototypical type of running back would I like to see in the system, I want a running back that could take it to the fucking house. And what I mean is, we open holes, not we, but the Eagles open holes so wide, the potential is there. Miles Sanders he was good, but he didn't have that breakaway speed, right? And I want to see a guy like that on the Eagles, where it's just like, oh shit, we have to play the line hard, because if he gets past the first level of blocking, it might be a touchdown. We haven't had a guy like that in a long time. And what I'm
I
afraid
got
of,
one for you coming out of this draft.
I'm excited. I want to hear who he is. Because,
UCLA's Zach Charbonnet.
okay, I was just looking
I'll
at
tell you right now, the guy, I know he's in the Chip Kelly system, but he is fast. He's the fastest back in the draft. He's a good overall back. He plays with alongside of a scrambling quarterback. They ran the read option multiple times in UCLA. Zach Charbonnet's the guy. Look, as you see Mike throw the highlights up of him, the guy has next level speed. He has power to pull tackles.
Yeah, when you
He's
said Chip
fluid.
Kelly, that kind of
But look at that next level speed. Look at that. Like, he runs away from defenders. He has all the ability in the world.
And you know
look,
what?
he's tough to take down. That's 3-4 guys trying to take him down.
I want to go back to your point about Bijan Robinson.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, I like that elusiveness in the open field.
But you see on the read option.
Look at him explode on the hole. Look at him explode on that hole.
Zach Charbonnet's the guy. I really do believe that. Now, Colorado was terrible. This is running by a nobody defense, but he definitely cut that safety up.
So I'll bring up guys that, I think Travis Etienne's a good running back. I think some of these running backs will come out of good.
Yeah,
but I really think people have to realize the holes that you see in college, especially the Big 12. And I'm not a big college beatnik, but I do know that the holes you see in a Big 12 conference are much wider, and the pursuit that you're getting from the defenders is not as aggressive as the pursuit that you're going to have to face in the NFL. So the hype does come there, and that's why, with the Eagles' strength being the offensive line, or one of their strengths, I mean, it's one of the, I would say top two parts of their team, maybe if not one, behind the quarterback. I would say, listen, like, you could get a guy that has the skills that could run behind that line. You don't need the death of any team is if you get in a situation where you got to pay a running back a lot of money and a quarterback a lot of money. Look at the Cowboys. Don't want it. I think the kid could be good, but I think Gene's right on point. There's going to be other value in the draft. I could tell you some of the top running backs. Aaron Jones was a 5th-round draft pick, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know that. Now, some of you who don't know that probably think he's a top 10 running back in the NFL. You can argue that or not. But if he was on the Eagles, you probably like, that's a good running back on the Eagles, right? 5th-round draft pick. There's many draft picks like that. Alvin Kamara was a 3rd-round draft pick. There's a ton of draft picks out there that you can get if you draft right. Now, granted, the Eagles don't have a lot of mid-round draft picks past the 3rd round until the 7th. But that being said, I agree with Gene. I think 10's too valuable, where for me, if I'm the Eagles and I'm not getting an opportunity at Jalen Carter or an offensive tackle, then I'm trading back and getting more picks.
Offensive tackle?
Yeah.
Why would they take an offensive tackle?
Listen,
you have Lane and Jordan Mailata locked up for years. Why do you want an offensive tackle?
Well, how many more years you got out of Lane? 2? 3?
3. He's the best right tackle in football.
Depth never hurts, man. I mean, you got to.
You
my
don't
point
take
is
depth at 10, bro.
I think when you're at 10, you take the best player on the board, but I don't think they're going to be
10th overall pick to start opening day. Mike, do me a favor. I want you to fire up the PFF mock draft board. I'll go through it. I'll show you some of the names that are there. There's no way I'm thinking cornerback and offensive line of what I've heard. There's zero chance.
Yeah, cornerback, I definitely don't see because of what they just did, and
Just
you
do
know,
3 rounds. Just do 3 rounds. And then just
edge
select
rusher,
Eagles.
edge
Just
rusher. If
select.
he's a difference making edge rusher, I'm down with that. But that's too early to take a running back when you're at the end of the top ten picks. It's just too early in
I'd
my
rather
opinion.
take a running back than take an offensive tackle at 10. Well, let's see. Let's
Well,
see what's there at 10. Watch this. I want to go over this with you. So the first overall pick should be CJ Stroud. That's a joke.
and the system's already fucked. Burn it.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's exactly where I think we'd be at. No, we're not. We're not taking that trade. Reject it. Look at this. This is
Is
insane.
Jalen Carter still on the board? Is he still on the
Jalen
board
Carter's
here?
on the board. That's a no-brainer. You take Jalen Carter and you don't think twice. Let me tell you something else. Well, read that real quick before I'll read it out loud. His combination of high-level athletic ability, incredible power and violence, and pass rush toolbox already brimming with moves makes Carter a clear early first-round prospect. He's an explosive playmaker and a viable threat in all phases of the defense. Quarterbacks beware.
I
Now,
just
there's
don't
somebody
see.
else.
I don't
There's
see him
somebody
making
else.
it to 10.
I
want him to
do.
make it.
I do. I think he makes it to 10 because of what happened outside. Now, watch this. What happens at 30?
Why wouldn't other teams take him?
Wait till you see what happens at 30. I'm going to give you something at 30, and you're going to look at me like I have 3 heads. There's no way this kid lasts to 30. I would take him at 10 if he was there. He just went at 28. We got unlucky. Nolan Smith is the second guy I would. He's a 4.39 edge rusher. I'm not accepting it. Ooh, hold on. Oh, that's our
second.
third. We drop back 2. We pick up a second. And we lose a third. Let me look at the board.
Yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on the
accept
board.
that. I would accept that trade. What do you think?
I mean, you're not your third round pick's gone, right?
Yeah. Reject that trade. That's a bad trade. Reject that trade. All right, so here's where we're at, right? This is an I don't like Jahmyr Gibbs that much. I don't. But this is a really interesting part of the draft. We don't need a wide receiver. There's Jalen Hyatt up there. We don't need a tight end, even though Dalton Kincaid, and by the way, my number one draft tight end on the board is Darnell Washington. The guy's 6'8", moves like a deer. That's the tight end for Georgia. Scroll down a little bit for me. See, I like Keon White, edge rusher out of Drew Sanders. The problem with Drew Sanders is he's terrible in coverage.
So our next pick is until what? The 7th round at this point if we do this?
No. We have maybe. No. We have a second rounder. This is
second rounders.
Our first rounder. We have a second rounder. What do you think about an edge rusher, BJ Ojulari from LSU?
I mean, if he's the best player on the board, because there's 2 other needs outside of defense. Eagles need. No one's talking about. I heard someone write about it today, or read someone. Quez Watkins is still our third receiver, is he not?
I mean, you could take a wide receiver. It's a luxury, though. I think safety is huge, but there's not a very big safety board.
Right.
Scroll down a little bit more. I want to see something.
I would go. We still need a running back, and we could probably address. You could do that in round 2.
Go to the top. Go to the top. All the way at the top. Yeah, my pick's BJ Ojulari here. You all right with that?
I'm all right with it. I mean, if this guy is, I don't know a ton about him right now.
He's an very good edge rusher. Now, this next pick is huge because there's 2 guys I have in mind that I just didn't take because I felt like they would be here. There's one of them, Zach Charbonnet. I would take him if we get to our pick and Charbonnet's still on the board, I'm taking him. Eli Ricks, look at that one. Here it comes. And this is easy. You reject that trade offer and you take Zach Charbonnet and you don't think about it twice. Reject. And Zach Charbonnet is your guy. Click his profile. So, all I want to read this to the listeners out there. By all accounts, he owns a quiet demeanor off the field, but on it, he makes the bells ring for nearly every opponent he faces. Charbonnet is less make you miss and more run through you, which leads to a north-south style running. The UCL running back owns an impressive contact balance, even for a bigger back at 6'1", 220. He shrugs off arm tackles and has the leg drive and pure strength to churn through congested areas.
What about pass catching ability? Because I really think we
100%.
need.
You can't play for UCLA and not catch the ball.
Yeah. And I think we were missing that from the offense last year. I mean, I know, yeah, Gainwell would help out with it and things of that nature. But I think when you have one back that can do it versus one back that can't, it becomes predictable as far as
Look at that.
what might
Jahmyr
be
Gibbs
coming.
is still on the board. He slipped really all the way far down.
Yeah. Who?
Yeah, Charbonnet's the pick there. I don't think we have another pick. I think that's it for us. And we can restart it afterwards, but let's just let it go through.
But first off, I feel like there's someone that might have fell to the Eagles even farther with the Anthony Richardson shit. I think it's being reported that
Anthony
Alabama
Richardson's
kid's
still going to go before us.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like he's not going number one. The kid
He's
Bryce
going to
Young
go
is
top
going
9, though.
I think that's a horrible
Indy
overreach,
is
in my
what they're
opinion.
talking about.
That's
Shane
crazy.
Steichen. They like what he did with Jalen Hurts, and they think they can recreate him.
Jalen Hurts had some success in college. I mean, Jalen Hurts did way more in college than Anthony Richardson's even ever.
Look at this. We picked up Jalen Carter, BJ Ojulari, Zach Charbonnet, and a second-round draft pick. That's not a bad first 3 rounds.
So I like this Nolan Smith kid. I'm watching some film on the side here. So for me, if I don't see Nolan Smith or Jalen Carter at 10, would you take Nolan Smith at 10?
100%.
If I don't see
Mike,
either of
do me a
those guys,
favor. Do me a favor. Can you throw up Nolan Smith's highlights, Georgia D edge rusher, and Nolan Smith's combine? Because
say that.
he's a 4.39 edge rusher. You guys realize how absurd that is?
Imagine having him and Hassan Reddick going after the quarterback. That's all I have to say. Pick your poison.
He's a big guy too. You'll see.
And to me, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, and Jordan Davis have all played together at one point, right? Were they all on the team 2 years ago? And I like that continuity there. Yeah.
Watch this kid. He's a stud.
So my thing is I want to edge rusher.
Oh, he's an edge rusher. This is an edge rusher. That's an edge rusher. The guy has great instincts to the ball. He's super fast. He will blow up your play. Nope. I don't know where you're going.
4.3 is
that's Michigan too.
Ridiculous.
Top D line, the offensive line in college football right there. Nolan Smith just said,
Michigan?
"Yeah, I don't know where you're going, bro."
What happened to their uniforms? That looks like Minnesota. No, is that Michigan? Ugh.
Michigan. This is Bama. This is 2 years ago.
Hey man, if you get a DN that could play the run like that too, give it to me all day. Like, I mean, my thing is if those two guys aren't available there, somehow someone took them before the Eagles, I'm trading.
Nolan Smith will be there. Nolan Smith will be there. The other guy, Miles Murphy out of Clemson, is another one you got to look at. Miles Murphy out of Clemson, just if you don't mind throwing him up there next. Miles Murphy out of Clemson is another one.
Well, show that combine video real quick of Nolan Smith we told you about first. I want to see that combine. I mean, that's a pretty impressive. You can,
bro. He's a 4.39 at an edge rusher.
What's his height?
He's 6'4".
Yeah. So it's even if you're not a football fan, when a man of that size can move that quick, you can appreciate it.
It's Micah Parsons. He's Micah Parsons. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Micah was. He's a lot more raw than Micah is. But when you have that speed, power, and agility at that size, it's just it's not fair.
Can't find the combine, guys.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Here's Miles Murphy highlights, please.
Got it.
This kid, watch this kid, Godfrey, and then we'll do another mock draft after seeing these guys. But this kid, Miles Murphy out of Clemson. Clemson had one of the most underrated defenses in college football. They have a linebacker, last name Simpson, who's a stud. But watch this kid, Miles Murphy. He's definitely elite. All right, so he's an edge rusher. He's a little bit more powerful than Nolan Smith is, a little bit less fast. Broke around the corner, easy, too easy. That's a Florida State offensive tackle, so definitely a 3 or 4 star kid. No, fumble, stripped the ball from Jordan Travis. Is this Notre Dame? This is another top tier offensive line. Didn't give up on the play. I don't think that was that impressive, but that was more the play breaking down. But Notre Dame is another team that has a very elite offensive line. Yeah, that wasn't a great highlight. Some of the highlights. There you go. Blows past.
Yeah, but do you need to pick at 10 to get him?
Yes, he's not going to be there at 29.
Okay, or 30.
He's the third. Tyree from Texas A&M is the second. Will Anderson's the first. He's the third rated edge rusher in the draft.
I mean, is there some value though of letting a team jump up to the 10 and getting maybe another second round and another third round and some other late round pick?
Maybe, definitely. This is a deep draft. All right, we can cut it off. Let's do another mock draft. Whenever you get
I got it in the combine video if he wants to play that, but I sent him it. Yeah, because that was impressive. It's like watching, the peak physical human condition run across. Those videos you see, like it or not, this is peak physical condition for the male. that's what this dude is. I mean, ridiculous. There it is right here. Look at this guy.
6'2" and a quarter, 238. And he runs a 4.39 at the D line. This guy's shredded. The guy is shredded.
Wait till he put some of the NFL weight on. Yeah, this was all over ESPN and NFL Network and all that. Because that's not normal for a DN to run that kind of speed. I remember
40? No way.
Didn't Peppers have that kind of speed coming out? Julius Peppers coming out of college?
Nobody ran a 4.39 until Michael Parsons. This is the second guy did it.
And we're off.
That's a 4.44. He runs it better the second time. He runs it as a 4.39. It's
even
absurd.
4.4 is pretty good. And that wasn't a Jalen Reagor 4.4. That was a real 4.4.
Oh, Jalen Reagor ran a 4.4. So if your edge rusher's running the same as your wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, Jalen Reagor also, I remember it was that COVID year where they had all those private workout days and all that. And they were like, oh, let me post my time on,
the 4.29, the fake one.
Yeah, fuck that.
All right, so let's do this again. 3 rounds. All right, so I'm going to start draft.
I want to tweet them and be like, you're mocking.
Jalen Carter went 3 in this one. Tyree Wilson went. Hold on. I might accept this.
I'm accepting that.
I don't know, man.
It's 2024.
I like it, but if you lose Myles Murphy here, who are you going with?
No, I'm not accepting that because if it's a deep draft this year, I'm not looking I'm looking now. You know what I mean?
My question is this, right? Just think for a minute. Brian Branch is the player I would draft here at 10 if Myles Murphy wasn't there. So are you picking up the 3rd round draft pick here? And knowing that you have to go Myles Murphy or Brian Branch. Brian Branch is stud safety out of Alabama. He will be a 6'7", 10-year starter at safety, and that's a position of need. But maybe I do accept this. What do you think?
I'm only accepting it if I'm thinking I'm flipping that 3rd round pick for a trade that could bolster the roster in after the draft, like a veteran.
Let's accept it and see what's there. Let's accept it and see if we pick up a 3rd for nothing. Myles Murphy went and Broderick Jones. See, this is a huge package, but I'm rejecting that. I might accept that. You're moving up in the 2nd round for another. I accept that.
I bet you they take you who you wanted. No, Will Levis.
We're good. We're gonna reject that offer, and I think we're rejecting that offer. And I think we're taking Brian Branch out of Alabama. Click his profile. This is Brian Branch, not Brees.
before you go off on him, if you had to take one of these two guys gun to head, who are you taking first? Will Levis or Anthony Richardson? Who are you taking?
Levis.
Same.
I'm not a fan of Anthony Richardson. Branch is an extremely explosive athlete who surges out of his stance. He's an instant accelerator coming downhill with a torrid foot speed to fuel that acceleration. The Alabama safety flashes elite I'm not even saying that, capacity when attacking and support. And he has the initial burst to explode past blockers in close quarters and evade the backfield. Going beyond his explosiveness, Branch has enough long speed to carry receivers up seams and deep crossers. He's also a very fluid athlete with exceptional corrective freedom in his hips. Branch can instantly redirect outside to out routes after flipping inside to the seam route. The third-year defensive back can easily flip his hips upfield and run with receivers. He's able to snap around 180-degree transitions and redirect his momentum with relative ease. This is my guy.
I feel like this simulator is broken. I just can't get over that we've done it several times now, and Anthony Richardson goes number one. That is so fraudulent.
We'll do it one more time and see what happens.
It's fucking. There's no way that, like, if you're fired as a GM if you think. I'm sorry. There's no way he should be the
Look
first
how long
quarterback
Cam
off the board.
Smith went. Cam Smith is a stud. He went 24. Hold on. Reject that. Nolan Smith's on the board. I don't care. Reject that. Nolan Smith's on the board. Reject that. Nolan Smith's on the board. I take Nolan Smith here. And how's that still there? I want to look at this draft afterwards. This is an A+ right now. We have a safety and an edge rusher already. And we picked up 46, so we're about to pick again.
So my idea too is if you don't, I think you could get a running back.
No, I'm not trading with the Cowboys.
No.
Yeah. Hold on. I might take that. Hold on. Who do we want here? We have an edge rusher. We have a safety. Who do we want?
So they're moving up before us to take who? Like, I mean,
that's what I'm looking at. That's why I'm taking my time here. Who do you want here?
Is that running back on the board still from UCLA?
100%. He's further down.
I mean,
he's a third round guy. I don't know, man. John Schmitz from Minnesota.
Listen, so that's a 7th round pick that we're giving back to him at 219, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking it because it gets me another pick this year in the mid rounds, which we kind of need.
4th rounder.
Yeah,
let's accept it. Who do they take? Just for fun, I want to see who they take anyway. They took the offensive tackle I would have took. Offensive lineman I would have took. He's a guard. I would have replaced Sam Howell with him. Reject that one. We're not taking that. That's silly. Reject that one. All right, we got a pick here. Okay, so Jack Campbell is a middle linebacker, but you have Nakobe Dean in that role. He's a very good player, best available. Cedric Tillman is not as good.
What about receiver? I mean, I really think that's overlooked.
Cedric Tillman's not the guy, though, bro. Jalen Hyatt's their guy. He got off because everybody was covering Jalen Hyatt all year. I'm serious. Trenton Simpson is a Kazir. Didn't I just tell you he's Kaiser White? I would go Trenton Simpson. He's going to be your off-ball linebacker. Click him. I'll read it out to the listeners. When you watch Simpson's tape, you have to play a little bit of Where's Waldo before each snap. On any given play, Simpson could be in the box, in the slot, off the edge, or even a deep safety. But what makes Simpson so valuable isn't his ability to line up all over the field. It's ability to dominate all over the field. I love Simpson. I think he sits right next to Nakobe Dean, and I think that's your pick here. And I think you hope Charbonnet is your next pick. And that's a perfect draft to me. You got to hope Charbonnet falls, which he has in every draft so far. Hank Bigsby, that's a good running back. Interesting. Charbonnet will be on the board soon. Eli Ricks, cornerback out of Alabama. Jordan Battle, that's the other safety out of Alabama, who I would take if Charbonnet was gone. There's Charbonnet. He went. I don't know why he went to the Colts. Hendon Hooker.
You know who went? You know who went to the Giants that I really wanted the Eagles to sign, and I know people will might laugh at me saying this. I thought Paris Campbell would have been a nice signing for the Eagles.
So we picked 94, 97. I reject that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I reject that. That's borderline ridiculous. So we can't get Charbonnet here. The Pitt running back's not that good.
So who took him?
Running back is what?
Who took him?
Charbonnet. He went to Indianapolis. I don't know why. It's just sometimes PFF just does dumb things.
Like Anthony
Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. This is interesting. This is a really tough spot. I don't know what I do here. Maybe take Blake Freeland as offensive tackle. Like depth. He's not a bad tackle.
Click on offense.
Scroll down a little bit. Maybe I'll see somebody. Maybe I'll see somebody else. Okay, hold on. Stop. Jaden Reed out of Michigan State. If you want a slot receiver, that's actually not bad. Look I'll read his to you real quick. He's shown to have excellent cut ability, whether it's after the catch or carrying the ball out of the backfield. Reed's displayed impressive contact balance in games studied. He routinely broke tackles for extra yards. At catch point, Reed is impressive too. He has relatively reliable hands, and despite his frame, he has shown the ability to compete in contested catch situations. Furthermore, he has body control and ball tracking ability to react and respond to passes that are, how shall we put this, not on the money. He's a good bad ball catcher.
Okay. But he has those things apparently that Quez Watkins does not. Because when you read that would
be your Quez Watkins replacement. Like that would be
bullish. Who I know with. He can't be our third receiver. I'm sorry. No, it's over with Quez Watkins. I am bullish on
Jaden Reed would walk right into that starting job. There's no way.
I want people to think about
the season last
year. Think about the season last year. Think about how many plays Quez Watkins were on. We're like, man, fuck, if he could just complete that play, the game could have been different. There was 3 different times. I'm sorry, man. No Quez Watkins. Maybe a 5th receiver, if that. I'm done with him. No. And I'm not saying that just because of Super Bowl.
So Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati is the other guy you could look at. I don't like him as much as Michigan State's Jaden Reed. Take Jaden Reed here. We have the pick again in 3 picks, and then we can make another decision. That's a bad trade. It doesn't do anything for you.
No.
That's a bad trade. It doesn't do anything for you. All right, so scroll down a little bit. This is going to be our last pick, obviously.
I don't think the Eagles are in a position this year to be trading to picks away from picks this year for next year based off the volume they have, unless it's such a killer deal they got to take it. Like, to me,
type in type in where it says search, type in Ibrahim, IBR 208. Wow. Click him real quick. Click his name. This is a late round stud. At Minnesota, passing game failed to live up to its 2019 performance last fall. Mohamed Ibrahim emerged as one of the top running backs in college football. This guy is not a 2-contract guy. He's a bruiser that can run. He's going to get a ton of touchdowns. He's a great red zone back.
5'7", Maurice Jones-Drew type right there.
Oh, he's strong. He's a strong boy. The problem is I think Minnesota wore him out. I really do. He's not a 2-contract guy. Close that because we're not going to take him, obviously. 208. That's a little bit too far down. Can you click offense real quick? And then click running back. I just want to see what scroll all the way, make sure it's all right at the top, which it is. See, I like Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. Kenny McIntosh, who watched him play out of Georgia for years. Kenny McIntosh is not an every down running back. He's a very lightning. He's very quick. Look, Kenny McIntosh's page. Thank you. Explosive athlete, wrist long stride accelerator, offers smooth mobility and finesse in tight spaces, stacking cuts with ease. He's a very fast running back.
What round are we in right now?
We're in the end of the 3rd.
I don't know. I think you go guard right here. We need a guard replacement.
Okay. OT, where it says OT? OG, I mean? OG?
You got to get a guard. You can get a guard in the 3rd round.
Well, Alabama's always got a 4-star kid. Give me Emil Ikabara. 320, shorter, incredibly strong, dense frame. Somebody's at your front door, Mike. Let's select him. It's 6:53. We're gonna wrap up after this, but I'm really happy with this draft. Look at this draft. Brian Branch, safety out of this. This is a very good draft. I would, if the Eagles do this, I would take this 100 times out of 100.
Before we wrap up, I want to play a really quick game with you, okay? Because now we didn't get a running back, right? And we both agree we need we need one additional running back in my mind because of injury risk. So I'm going to read off a few, like 4 names to you, and you go smash or pass. Okay. Jarrett McKinnon.
Yes.
Kareem Hunt.
Smash.
Okay. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
Leonard Fournette.
Yes.
Okay. That was my thoughts exactly. The Eagles don't get the guy in the draft. You know, I think
you got to go out and get Kareem Hunt.
Absolutely.
I
mean, listen, I don't know if he has as much tread on his tires as we're led to believe because of the way his career played out. So you might be able to get a good year out of him. And I like the kind of running style he brings. He's definitely a good catcher of the ball. So it gives you versatility. You got him and Gainwell and Rashard Penny. And I just don't want to be, and I'll get off the running back thing. I don't want to have a really good team that reminds me, and you'll remember this, Gene, of the year where, and I know these running backs are better than these guys, but we had a really good team and we were stuck with Darnell Autry. Remember that year? We were running out Chris Warren and people like that, and the Eagles had a really good team that year. I'm not saying that's the level they're at, but they're an injury away from being very thin. And with Rashard Penny's history, you have to back that up. You just have to. I don't see how you
I think the Eagles 100% get another running back this offseason. I just think they're waiting to see how the draft plays out.
Yeah, there's other.
And if Charbonnet is there, Zach Charbonnet is the guy. I'm telling you, I'm a Charbonnet guy. He runs the offense that Jalen Hurts already runs. He's a very good shotgun running back that plays well off the read option. Charbonnet's the guy. Charbonnet with Penny, Boston Scott, and Gainwell being your 4 running backs.
Let's pretend they got him, and we didn't get that Michigan State receiver that we took in his last draft. I'm going to give you 4 receivers. All right, so I'm going to give you 4. These are free agents. All right, I'm going to smash or pass. All right.
Sure.
N'Keal Harry.
Pass.
Okay. It's not a lot out there. This is slim pickings. Very, very slim pickings. Demarcus Robinson.
Pass.
Robbie Anderson.
Smash.
Okay. I like where you're going. Jarvis Landry.
We talking Jarvis Landry?
Jarvis Landry.
Smash. 100% smash. Great possession receiver. He's not going to blow the top off, but you already have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith to do that. He's a great possession receiver. He's a good leader, and he's a hard worker. Jarvis Landry would be the top of that list.
He's not going to get Debo like Quez did.
No. 100%.
Not happening with Jarvis. Not happening with Landry. Robbie Anderson gives you some speed on the outside. That's a field stretcher as well, so that could be dangerous. That would be my 1B, and Landry would be my 1A. So that's pretty much where I'm at. You know, that was fun. I mean, draft week is always fun, and we're going to talk.
We'll be live again the night of the draft. Us in pregame and Pigskin. We'll be back. We're going to pregame Pigskin right now. So if you want to follow more NFL talk, follow us over there. We'll be on Sports Empire Network the next hour. We got to wrap up the show. I appreciate everybody tuning in to Birds Deep. That's D. Godfrey. I'm Gene Walzak. Godfrey, send us out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back again more frequently. And this is the Godfrey and Gene, not saying bye, but take it Birds Deep.
Can't see me, baby.